What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, managing editor of Fightful.com, FightfulWrestling.com. You headed over to FightfulWrestling.com just before this show. You would have seen the news broken that Triple H and Vince McMahon would be on this show. We are breaking news all the time. You can get all your free wrestling news, podcasts, videos, photos at Fightful.com and FightfulWrestling.com. Had somebody ask me the other day, what is the mentality of adding something to Fightful Select as opposed to Fightful.com? I will never put our news behind a paywall. News is free to you guys. Stuff like that is absolutely free. Retro reviews, special podcasts, members-only podcasts, dark match commentary, alternate commentary, stuff like that. I like to give you all on FightfulSelect.com, as well as early access to some of our articles, some of our features, our specials. So head over to FightfulSelect.com if you guys don't mind. Check that out. We have G1 weekly wrap-ups. We have the NXT 205 live show. We have the Weekender podcast, the Q&A podcast. We are filming 2 retro reviews that will hit Fightful Select in August. So just check it out, okay? Also, we are wrapping up our OMG contest. Head over to our Instagram, Instagram.com/Fightful. Cut your best promo as Gee on butter. You're running out of time to win a free jar. Some good high-level stuff, my friends. Check it out. Also, as I wrap up the plugs, check out my Slammiversary review last night. That was an awesome show. Impact Slammiversary was an outstanding show. Top to bottom, just really, really good. So check that out as well. I'm joined by Alex Pawlowski. Alex, now I'm not going to be here for a couple of big shows in August. UFC 227, I'll be out of town. I'll do the recap the next day. NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, I will be at my longtime tag team partner, wrestling coach friend's wedding that starts as that's starting. Can I count on you to not show up in the crowd front row at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn? Because, you know, people who work for us just keep getting signed, Alex.
I know, it's crazy. I don't know. You know, I mean, I got some things in the works. I have offers.
You don't want to ruin your shot. That's why you're not saying anything.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to jinx it, you know.
Shane Helms showed up. Royal Rumble. Deonna Purrazzo, former Fightful Pro Series contributor, now signed. We have Jason Kincaid worked for them WrestleMania weekend, and the hot new rumor on the streets, Matt Riddle pulling out of bookings late September left and right, but he's keeping some of them WWN bookings.
That's curious.
Let me just run you guys down the history. I posted a teaser today. I did talk to Matt today. I interviewed him on video. I was wanting to save that, and I will save it for a couple weeks from now on the Listen Ya Boy. So I wanted to do that before I didn't have a chance to do it again. I've interviewed Matt every single year since 2014, since way before I would say 99% of the people watching this podcast had any clue who I was from a wrestling perspective. And Matt gave me his time then. And back then we were talking pro wrestling when he was fighting for Titan. I think I may have been his last interview as an MMA fighter, which is kind of cool because he immediately transitioned into pro wrestling. He got a WWE tryout and blew through it. And I had someone mention to me, the term they used was he embarrassed the tryout. To the point to where WWE was like, hey, we're going to sign you up. And then a couple weeks later, they were like, well, we're going to pass for now. Because they evidently Googled his name and saw him with a big old bag of weed.
Yeah, you know, because it's weird. They don't want to be associated with people who you could Google bad stuff about, you know, like a sex tape and racial epithets. Hypothetically, that kind of person, they don't want to be associated with that kind of person. But weed, especially not. Definitely not. Considering it's legal in a lot of states now, we can't have that.
So Matt he told this story on the broadcast with me a couple times, but he got offered some work with Ring of Honor and hit up WWE and said, hey, do you guys mind if I do this? Well, you know WWE. If you're number 3, they don't give a shit. But if you're number 2, it doesn't matter how far the distance between 1 and 2, they don't want you. They don't want you getting that leverage.
Yeah.
If you're number 3 by a smidge, good to go. So they said, no. We don't want to sign you, but how about we get you hooked up with WWN? Well, I always said, had Matt just worked for Ring of Honor, he'd have been in WWE probably a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So essentially, he was biding his time until a WWE deal approached. And when I think of 2.5 years, I think of that scene from Half Baked where he finds out how long his girlfriend's dad is doing for weed. And I'm like, 2.5 years for weed? That's how I feel. And Sean Waltman got him the tryout. Sean Waltman has been on the record and said that's the only reason. So I did speak to Matt Riddle today, and I've been speaking to him a little bit more recently. And the interview that we did, I straight up said, Matt, listen, I'm not going to ask you about WWE. I'm not going to ask you about ROH because I don't think it's any secret. If you've watched any of our shows the last few weeks, there's a little bit of heat on me and a little bit of heat on us as a website from WWE. They're not too thrilled with us for some of the stuff we've revealed. So I was like, Matt, I'm not even going to ask you about it. But for the Fightful viewers, I wanted to be able to speak to him again before I didn't have a chance to speak with him. Didn't get a confirmation from Matt at all about WWE or anything. But I speak to my peoples within WWE about this, and they said WWE is of the mindset right now that they need to sign anybody who could be a potential game changer.
Yeah.
And his contract, I believe, with WWM was going to be up before WrestleMania season. That would have put him in position to be booked for some really, really big stuff. New Japan was also softening their stance. They had kind of put the hammer down on bringing him over because I guess in Japan, people look at weed like it's the 80s. But
they look at weed like it's the weed.
Yeah, exactly. You know? Exactly. So he's out of Bola. He's out of his SummerSlam weekend dates. We will wildly speculate that Matt Riddle has signed with WWE. I haven't been told by anybody within WWE that, but I legitimately have not been told that by Matt.
Right.
Don't want to cost anybody their gig. So I didn't even bother asking him, but we did have a very fun conversation that you all will see within the coming weeks. Your thoughts on this? I mean, he's taken the indie world by storm the last few years.
Yeah, this is the thing. He is ready made to show up at NXT and take that place over. Do I have any confidence that they'll know how to work with him on the main roster? No, because they kind of find ways of drumming out very interesting personalities. Those guys don't stay interesting, like really interesting for very long in the main roster. But in NXT, oh my God, he's got ready-made feuds with the likes of Velveteen Dream, Ricochet. I want to see him take on in a gauntlet match, Undisputed Era. Like I just want him to come in and say, "Hi, hey, bro, I'm the best thing there is, and nobody can touch me in the ring." Because that's absolutely. I mean, if you watch some of his stuff, man, you really can't touch him in the ring. That guy's amazing. And to have him be in there and do that kind of stuff, because he's a completely different style. Like it's super hybrid, like it's totally different. I can't wait to see what NXT does with him. And as far as what his absolute ceiling in WWE, I do not know. I honestly don't know. But in NXT, sky's the limit. But in WWE as a whole, it really depends on how they treat him.
If you are unfamiliar with Matt Riddle's work, and this was a year and a half ago, as a gift to Matt, when we were winding down the broadcast, I had a highlight made for him because he wanted a highlight made to be able to send out. And I had IQ Wrestler, who does just the best wrestling highlights, do one of Matt Riddle. I had just posted it to my Twitter. Make sure you guys check that out. Show them some love. But yeah, man, Matt Riddle We will run that conversation. I was very glad to get to speak to him before things changed. Before things changed. A lot of people saying, oh, well, maybe it's Ring of Honor. He could have worked PWG in that event. Somebody said, well, maybe he's injured. Well, he ain't working WWN in that event. So that's the situation. So right before Raw, yeah, boy, posted some spoilers over at Fightful, including the return of one Vince McMahon. This was in Cincinnati. People asked me why I didn't go. Did you watch the show? That's why I didn't go. And so I could be here and talk to you guys. So thumbs up, subscribe, visit Fightful.com. We kick off with the announcement, and it's Vince McMahon introducing Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. Now, we can say all we want about Stephanie McMahon shoehorning herself into this situation, and tonight we'll avoid that because, believe me, Alex Pawlowski and myself will get at least 3 more opportunities to talk about this in the future. So instead, what we'll talk about is the first ever all-women's WWE pay-per-view event. It's going to be titled WWE Evolution. October, Nassau Coliseum. 50 women, Trish and Lita, have already been confirmed. They made a point to say, then, now, forever will be involved. Your thoughts on hearing this? I mean, it's a big step. 110 pay-per-view cards have featured exclusively men in the past. This will be the first for women.
Yeah. That little stat there. 100. There have been 110 exclusively male pay-per-views in the past. So all you trolls on Twitter with, they would never put on an all-male pay-per-view. This is bull. They have.
Were there people that said that?
Oh yeah, it's the standard thing of this is just reverse discrimination. Screw those people. They can all F off all the way, and twice on Sunday. But this is great. It's a long time coming for this group of women. This group of women, the past few years on the main roster at NXT, have absolutely earned this spot. It's going to be great. And listen, there are all female, like whole a franchise or whatever you want to call it, that operate all over the world. So just having this on one show, that's relatively minor. This is going to be great. It's not, as far as I know, it's not like instead of something else. It's in addition to other things, and that's pretty awesome. And from my point of view, what I hope for, because I know they said Raw, SmackDown, NXT titles all are going to be on the line, as well as the finals of the Mae Young Classic. I think that's a great way to do Mae Young Classic this year. But in addition to all that, I really hope we get some cross matches. I want to see Bianca Belair versus Nia Jax or something crazy across from NXT up.
I want to see Bianca deadlift gorilla press Nia Jax.
Let's see it. Let's see it. If anybody can do it, it's Bianca Belair. So
I would love for them to really embrace the then, now, forever. Like, I mean, there are things like, Ronda Rousey is going to be there and she's going to wrestle. But if you're trying to bide some time until she can really get her ducks in a row in the ring, I would do something funny like, Eva Marie returns and she finally wrestles, and then she makes up an excuse in the ring, gets armbarred, and that's a wrap. That's a wrap. The environment for this show, I think, is going to be a wild environment. It's going to be a good environment. I think it'll be sort of like the one night stand environment. You're going to get the feeling of something special, something different. No announcement of the rumored tag team titles, although Leather by Dan did confirm those belts have been commissioned and or made, although they were also commissioned and or made for the 205 Live titles too, and those are nowhere.
Yeah. With the 205 Live thing, I'm wondering if they realize they kind of only have 3 tag teams. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have a very broad roster to be able to like have a whole tag division. And then they broke up their top tag team in Tozawa and Itami. So as far as women go, it's a weird thing. Like, I don't think you need one for each brand. I think it'd be kind of cool if it floated. Like if the tag title holders are on Raw, over on SmackDown, you have a 2-week tournament between 4 teams to see who's the number 1 contender for the next dual branded pay-per-view. And then you could, if it switches brands, then you got to do that. You can do that over again. I think that's a cool way of keeping it fresh and being able to get it on both shows.
I would agree as well. I have high hopes for this. Of course, we will talk more about this as it gets a little bit closer. We got 3 months to go before this show.
It's true.
So super weird that Nikki Cross, no previous main roster intro, just chilling on the ramp.
Yeah, but they also had SmackDown women on the up there too. Like the Iconics were there, and
shit on SmackDown.
Right, but I'm saying they also said the NXT women will be a part of this. I think she was representing NXT.
Yeah, I guess.
Because she hasn't made a main roster debut, although she has been touring with them, which is why I think it was easier for them to have her there as opposed to somebody that would have flown in from Florida.
Somebody mentioned that she should have the thing should have been that she just showed up and everybody was too scared to let her know she could leave.
That would be great.
And Kurt Angle being scared of Nikki Cross is something that I need. That would be great. A couple other notes. Triple H put over the locker room, asked the women to step forward, and Stephanie McMahon had that major announcement tan going.
Yes, she did.
Whatever you're rattling, stop rattling. Bad broadcasting on the Fightful podcast. Alex, when are you getting your major announcement tan going?
I get major announcement burn. I don't major announcement tan. So I don't need to be up here looking like a major announcement lobster. So yeah, and I'm not into the whole spray thing. I know that's the rage.
Yeah,
it ain't for me.
Did you see Mojo tonight?
It was not a good look. No, and the thing was, he used to make fun of Zack Ryder for doing that.
He was a couple shades away from asking everybody to eat his shorts.
Yep.
He was real close, man.
Yep.
Ugh. Tag team championship match. Before this match, Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel are backstage putting over the women's Evolution pay-per-view, and this happened all night to the point where I was like, all right, we get it. We get it. Like, maybe space it out a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe space it out. But Bo Dallas calls Curtis Axel the brother that he never had. That was great.
That was great. It popped me. I loved it.
That was an excellent addition. Matt Hardy's entrance interrupts an Elias performance. Another theme of this show was Elias trying to perform a song from his new album, which I believe has reached number 6 as we go on the air.
Yes. Yeah. I'll be doing a review of the album, but
damn right you will.
The problem with the review that I had in mind was that my tone can be, let's say, on the snarky side. It's impossible to generate snark for this album. It's a great album. There's only 4 songs. 2 of them are legitimately great, and the other 2 are good. Like, I don't know how to be like, this is funny because it was bad. No, it's not bad at all. It's actually a really good album. You should check it out. Yeah, I really liked it. There's a great one where one of the songs is on piano, not on guitar. And the refrain of the song is, I wrote this song on piano just for you to prove there's nothing that I can't do. And I was like, that's great. That's absolutely in keeping with him. I don't know if he actually wrote the song on piano or plays piano, but I'd like to see that.
Well, I was told by someone within WWE that they didn't necessarily care about making a lot of money on this. They just wanted to chart, and they charted.
They charted. They see that the whole thing is that normally the WWE charts, and today they charts. They charted. So
I would rather you go back to you elbow dropping your microphone or whatever you were doing earlier. It's a wrap. Hey, everybody, party's over. Alex messed it up for everybody. Let's just go home.
Yeah. No, I'm not proud of it. I got like 2 hours of sleep last night. I'm not proud of it.
I was very interested to see how Bray Wyatt did tonight. He hadn't bumped since his return before this weekend. He ran over Bo Dallas pretty quickly, though, so Bray's cleared.
Yep.
He's back in the saddle. Bray gets worked over. Matt gets the hot tag and runs through his delete spots. A twist of fate lands, but this little skirmish causes Wyatt to fall into Hardy, and Axel gets the pin. So there goes your mandatory rematch that you had to have. Deleters fake out B-Team by clapping for them and then attack, but they got a babyface reaction. I don't know what this accomplished. I don't know if this was a heel turn. I don't know.
I don't know. It's like the we don't respect you kind of a thing. We're still the better team. We got to make sure everybody that, I mean, like, I feel like it wasn't their choice. I feel like it was like, we have to make sure everyone knows the B team is an illegitimate team. So that when we put the tag titles or take the titles off of them, put them on the Revival, it doesn't look like the Revival actually accomplished anything. Like, it feels like it's like they're keeping everybody's expectations low for these tag titles until somebody gets a hold of them and actually, you know, is impressive with them, because it hasn't been that way since the Bar had them. Like in March.
It seems really stupid to me from a content creation standpoint to not make these titles as hot as you can possibly make them.
I don't understand. Like, especially with the absence of the Universal Champion. Like, make the IC title and the tag titles, like, make that, like, you have to tune in to watch Raw, because even if Brock's not going to be there, those titles are hot, and all the people who want those titles, like, that should be it. I mean, I like Matt and Bray, but they're not this whole program hasn't done anything for them. And the B team is a joke. I mean, they're fun. I like the guys, but
yeah,
we've been conditioned to see them as a joke for years now. It's really hard for them to now be taken seriously.
So when I see this, I'm like, as you mentioned, Universal title's not on the show. Even their method of tag teams is usually split them up and make single stars. If you make better tag teams, you're going to get more single stars too.
True.
When the Hardys and Dudleys and Edge and Christian were rocking, you could, bam, all of a sudden it's The Rock and Mankind against these two guys, two of these guys. And you've got a hot tool that you can use to continue a feud. It's so weird to me. So weird to me. So you may notice that when Bayley and Sasha Banks were watching their segment from last week on the TV backstage, Michael Cole made sure to throw in their sisters.
Yep.
That was done on purpose.
Yes.
Because of rampant speculation last week.
Yeah.
Over a possible lesbian storyline, Alex.
I mean, yeah, you could. The speculation was there because of the way they put that segment together. So, yeah, I think they wanted it to be ambiguous last week, and they don't want it to be ambiguous this week, and that's fine. Now it's no longer ambiguous, and now we can focus on the fact that they're best friends and everything. And that's great. And we'll see where it goes from here. There's people are saying they're actually going to have these two be the best of friends through Slam and part of September, just so they can have their big one-on-one match at this Women's Evolution show. Okay, fine, but just tell the story right. Whatever you do, tell the story right. You know, if you're going to have tag titles and these two are going to be your first tag champions, tell that story right. If you're not, or during the tournament to crown those tag champions, they implode and they have a match at Evolution, tell that story right. Just start doing good storytelling, and I'll forgive all your other foibles.
So they beat these jobbers. They better never, ever, as long as I'm watching wrestling, let a woman in leggings get offense on Bayley. Because that was offense on me, because it was offensive to me.
Yes.
Offensive to me. Sasha comes in, knees the other one in the face, bank statement. That's it. They hug after the match. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. I like the that was a cool like tag team maneuver to get into that. Like the throw, like basically a snapmare into the running knee from Bayley directly into the bank statement is a good way to finish people if you're going to be a tag team. I think that's a good way of doing it. I liked it, but yeah, okay, great. They're friends now. Now you can move to the next part of this story, as opposed to next week they're still friends, and the week after that they're still friends, and the week after that, can they trust each other? Oh yeah, they can. Yeah, they're still friends. Like they tell the same chapter over and over and over again. It's the way WWE does stuff.
Braun Strowman interrupts Elias. He is all about equality, Alex.
Yes, he is.
He is very forward thinking. Not as much with the Bobby Lashley Roman Reigns match. He doesn't care about it because he has the briefcase. Kevin Owens comes out and cuts a really good promo outside of one thing, I thought. But he cuts this promo about him being genuine to Braun and how his 10-year-old son looked at Braun and Nicholas and he realized his son could be tag team champion and was like, he could replace that stupid Nicholas kid. And he decided to cozy up to Braun, be nice, but Braun took away his opportunity to provide for his family. And now Kevin Owens was going to do that same thing to Braun. Except when Braun offers him the opportunity, Kevin Owens says, no, I've got nothing to prove to you. I beat you. And I'm like, now hold on a second. You just said. Now it makes sense later, but. So I guess Constable Corbin comes out. But you can approach the Kevin Owens and Braun Strowman promos first.
Yeah, anytime Braun Strowman brings up Team Little Big, I'm all for it. I like that as canon, that they're still sweet on each other months later. I think that's a cool thing that I hope continues for years. I think it's a cool little nod. And I like that he comes out and he's the voice of the locker room in front of the fans to say we're all really proud of him, and that's really awesome. I think that's good. But it also muddies the water because that's a super babyface thing to do. And he legitimately tried to murder Kevin Owens like twice in the span of a month. So, yeah. So I mean, tried to murder him twice by throwing him off of really high things. Also, if Kevin Owens had like an open cut anywhere on his body, that could have really gotten infected when the porta potty tipped over. You never. Sepsis is no joke, kids. So let's really might try to kill him 3 times. Anyway, when Kevin Owens comes out and he says, "My kids thought I was indestructible, and now like they're worried for my safety because they saw that Daddy can really get hurt." That's some real ass shit. Like the idea of like looking at your kids and realizing, because that thing like when Mick Foley took all those unprotected chair shots from The Rock on that documentary Beyond the Mat, and all his kids were in the front row, like you watch their reaction to it, and it's horrifying and heartbreaking to these kids watching their dad being beaten to within an inch of his life. I can see the kind of same thing with Owens, especially his daughter, who's very, very young. If she actually saw footage of that, it would be horrifying. So this all makes good sense, and it leads to a development that I've been wanting for years, where the briefcase should be defended in matches if it's not actively being used.
We'll get to that in a minute. Constable Corbin comes out, and boy, he's about to lay the law down, Alex.
Yes, he is.
To be fair, when I was younger, I was a rambunctious teenager doing a bunch of boys will be boys horse shit in my neighborhood. And really, the only guy we had to worry about was a constable. Or we thought we had to. We didn't. And we quickly found out that the constable couldn't do shit. So, and the deputy in our town was an 80-year-old guy who would literally show up and go, "Boys will be boys." So we had to deal with this constable character quite a bit. So I got to say that this does, Baron Corbin, and the steps that he's taking here do accurately reflect my personal history with constables, maybe even far exceeding the reach of the ones that I've dealt with. He brings out Jinder Mahal, former world champion Jinder Mahal, who teaches Braun some breathing exercises. Braun bullies Singh into holding the mic for him because he's little. And then Braun gets the crowd to chant, "Get these hands," and beats the shit out of him. Now, Braun's still over, but we saw this coming vividly. Yeah. About, 9 months ago when we were making jokes about the Cricket Wireless ads. And we knew this Braun was coming.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe it's a necessary evolution. No pun intended for the night, but is it a necessary evolution, or can they just have him tear shit up every week? I mean, you gotta change up a little bit.
Yeah, you do. I think that they kind of realized that he was getting over as a fan favorite by doing what he was doing, and they were like, "Well, let's lean into the fan favorite thing. Let's have him do other things that people like." Like, he's legitimately a pretty funny dude, and he doesn't have a lot of shame. Like that elf skit they did last Christmas with him as Buddy the Elf was legitimately hilarious. He's a really funny dude, and he's a lovable guy, and that's a cool thing that you can use for some. Like, he's also got a ready-made gesture where he raises the hands up and roars that the crowd loves to do along with him. Lean into it. Let him do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's, unless you're actively making him this giant heel monster that we want to root against. But the problem is you're not putting him up against guys we want to root for. So, you know, like, obviously Reigns, that worked out in his favor. People cheered for him over Reigns. That cheered for him over Kevin Owens. And they're definitely going to cheer for him over Jinder Mahal. They're doing this on purpose. So we'll see how this works. I did like the idea of, "You little guy, come over here." "Yeah, you, there ain't nobody else little in this ring." Because Jinder, let me tell you, was wearing some lifts.
Oh, yeah.
He would look taller than Braun. I'm like, he ain't taller than Braun. So that was interesting. Again, I keep going back to this. This was the character that Jinder was doing when he was a jobber before he went to SmackDown and started, improving himself. He would just hang out backstage and go, "Shanti," and that was it. That was his whole deal. This guy was a champion on your other brand for 6 months, and now he's back here being Shanti guy.
Still waiting on my apologies from people who were all in on the Mahal thing. It wasn't going to work. He's not good.
It wasn't going to work.
He's not good, and now they feel obligated to keep him. So,
yeah, because cutting bait would look like you made a giant mistake by putting the belt on him and keeping it there for 6 months.
Kurt Hawkins is legitimately more useful than Jinder Mahal right now.
Yes,
Kurt Hawkins can show up and lose, and it's a story. Yeah, I mean, Braun's gonna beat Jinder probably next week or the week after, or some shit like that on the way to SummerSlam. But, whew, boy. So, Mickie James has some new gear. It's better than the flappy pants. It's pretty much Shaw Guerrero's old gear from FCW, Raquel Diaz. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
People always want me to talk about Mickey's gear. It's all right. I liked it.
It was fine.
Will she defend the gold vest that she won from the Power Ranger at WWE Evolution?
I don't know. I'll tell you what. It adds stakes to whatever match she's in. So I say
we're all about stakes.
All about stakes.
You gotta add something.
Gotta have something up for grabs.
These two slug it out early, and Natalya just kills her with an electric chair. Then Alexa Bliss distracts Natalya, gets knocked off the apron, and Mickie hits a hard kick to the win, or with the win. That was it.
Yeah.
That's it. Nothing really, because Ronda's still suspended this week.
Right. So this is just to build a video package for next week when Ronda comes back, and she's gonna be looking for revenge. Let's show you the tape from last week, where what happened last week. Now,
training partner.
Yeah.
Yeah. This next segment was painful. Authors of Pain cut a real bad promo.
Yep.
A real bad promo. And they had to sit out there and wait through the commercial after their entrance, too. They say, give us some competition besides Titus Worldwide.
Yeah. Yeah.
Titus O'Neil comes out and he says he can help out Authors of Pain. Apollo Crews follows it up by talking about how much he has made since Titus has helped him out. How little was Apollo Crews making?
Yeah, I'm not seeing the Titus Worldwide shirts out here in these streets, so I don't know who's buying the merch. But I also didn't see Apollo Crews merch before he joined up with Titus Worldwide.
That's a good point.
I blame them not having Tozawa on the roster anymore because I thought that he added a lot to that whole thing. But now the little guys can't be on Raw anymore. So
Crews and Tozawa with Titus and Dana on the outside was a good package, I thought.
It would have been a lot of fun.
Authors of Pain were garbage. They said, what can you learn us? It was real bad. It was shitty. They tell Titus to retire. Titus and Apollo attack. Yeah, man, sure. Wow. There are 2 options to save these guys. Maybe 3. 1, you never have them talk. Ever. Any reason, ever. 2, put them with Samoa Joe. That should have been what they did from the shoot. Right from the get-go.
Right.
The 3rd, and most plausible, you sign Stokely Hathaway. There's one guy out there that can do this. One guy that is out there that has managed high-level wrestlers but is still a fresh face, isn't cheesy, isn't corny, doesn't go out there and do the typical managerial tropes. He's got his own thing. He's clever. He's quick-witted. Vince McMahon's got to get over his weird shit. Like, the Singh brothers are managers, but they're not really managers. They do an intro.
Yeah.
Paul Heyman isn't a manager. He's an advocate.
Yes.
Titus O'Neil is kind of a manager, but he's a wrestler.
Yes.
Stokely Hathaway is just a manager. He is a mouthpiece. You know, when you have guys that don't cut great promos, like these 2 fellas, you put a guy like Stokely Hathaway where you put him face-to-face with any other talker on the roster, he's going to knock it out of the park. 10 times out of 10. He doesn't dwarf these guys. He'll make them look bigger. He'll make them sound more intimidating. He can convey the things that really accentuate their positives. Sign the guy. I know he made a great impression at Access Weekend on WWE.
Yeah, well, here's my pitch. I mean, I think it's it probably will never happen, and there's probably good reasons why it won't. What I would love is to see Bobby Roode take a step back from in-ring stuff. And I'd love to see him come out in a perfect suit and talk up these boys as basically his enforcers, because I think he could talk a great game. And I love the idea of like, oh no, I got a lot of money and I paid them, and so they do whatever I say. Boys, kick his ass. And I think that'd be really cool. And like that's I mean, but then again, you'd have to turn Bobby heel. And as we know, the WWE is in the mood for a Rude Raleigh feud. And so now we got to wait for Mojo Rawley to get done beating up Bobby.
From a kayfabe perspective, if they bring Paul Ellering back to NXT TV, he can show up and say, "Look what happened when they ditched me."
Yeah.
They weren't on TV. It's the old Bobby Heenan line. If you listen to me, you'll go to the top. If you don't, you're never heard from again.
That's right.
The greatest line for a manager, and it was putting himself over. Speaking of good potential managers, I think Mojo Rawley would make a fantastic manager 15 years down the line if he wants to.
Yeah.
He is such a great talker. He pounces and destroys Breeze. We get some rude comments in the back from Rude, not like obnoxious comments.
Yeah.
Seated Alabama Slam wins it. Mojo is switching things up, seeing what works. I like that he's using the Seated Alabama Slam now. It's his own. Yeah. It looks a little bit different. I like it.
I do. I like it too. I was I do hate the trope of Wrestler X lost last week, but he's asked for this rematch. As though anything's going to be different this week, because that's not how this works. If anybody loses last week but asked for this rematch, you can tell they're going to lose again this week. I'm happy Tyler Breeze is still on TV, earning that TV paycheck, even now that Fandango's gone. Tyler Breeze objectively could wrestle circles around Mojo Rawley, and so it's kind of sad to me that he's at this point, the WWE. But I'm interested to see where they go with Mojo. He was the guy who started out the selfie promo thing because he actually did it real, and it made sense. And everyone was like, hey, you know what was great about that? Not the fact that it was raw and real and in the moment. The fact that it was on a selfie camera.
Some do say that he started the selfie revolution.
Some do say that.
More reactions throughout the night about the Evolution pay-per-view. They were pushing this real hard. Real hard. Stephanie, Kurt, KO, and Corbin are backstage. Owens wants another shot at Braun Strowman at SummerSlam, and if he wins, he gets the briefcase. Kurt Angle says, no, why would I do that? Well, maybe because it's been done before. Yeah. And I'm glad that it's coming back in this situation because there's reason for KO to get that. He won the match. Yeah, he won the match.
I do like that he also is stating that in this stipulation. It doesn't matter how I win, by pinfall, by submission, or by countout, or by disqualification. So this match is just going to be trying to get Braun Strowman to hit him with a chair. It's going to be a lot of fun. And here's the deal. I hate Braun with the briefcase. I'm going to go out and say it. It's useless. He doesn't. I was hoping that he would win that Money in the Bank ladder match because I thought he was going to come out the next night on Raw and challenge Brock because that would be true to his character, and that's been done before, and it's a great way of getting him even more over with the crowd. Him biding his time doesn't make sense. Brock's going to be on Raw next week. Braun shouldn't have the briefcase by the time SummerSlam rolls around because he should use it next week on Brock. Like, I don't understand why we're doing this.
That would be a hilarious aspect to really piss KO off.
It would be. But
just this, like, Braun didn't even really care about the title. He just wanted to piss KO off a little bit more. Oops, drop this.
Yeah. I love it. It'd be great if he just was walking around, walking up to refs in the back saying, "Here, hold this. I got to tie my shoe." You know, "Oh no, I'm not cashing it in. I just wanted you to hold it." But I've often said in the past that KO is the perfect guy to hold that briefcase because he would be perfectly opportunistic with it. And you also believe that he could cash it in when you would not expect him to.
Sure.
So if somehow he winds up with the briefcase, I think that Raw is better off for it.
It's been 6 years since anybody defended the briefcase. Ziggler defended it against Jericho in a career versus contract match. He defended it against Cena later in the year before he cashed in. Raw RVD defended his in 2006 against Shelton Benjamin. Also, Edge defended his in a ladder match against Matt Hardy. And the one person to lose it was Mr. Kennedy in, man, a real heartbreaker. That guy could not catch a break.
No.
He lost it to Edge because they thought that he had an injury that was far worse than it really was.
Yep.
Oof.
No. Yeah.
Bummer for him. So backstage, Finn Balor is talking to Chad Gable, and he's a little bit of a shithead to Chad Gable, interrupting him a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this. I was so hopeful when Chad Gable came over from SmackDown and immediately had a scene with Kurt Angle. I was like, "Oh, this is going to be great. Kurt's going to give him preferential treatment." And then when Jason Jordan comes back, it's either they're going to reteam, it'll be Team America again with Kurt Angle as the de facto manager, or Jason Jordan's going to be super jealous of how his dad's hanging out with his former best friend. that's going to be great. Oh, except no, Chad Gable's going to be on main event and losing to Mojo Rawley over there a lot. Oh, and then he's going to have Finn Balor talk down to him. Oh, okay.
With Matt Riddle gone, there is a real void for a certain type of style on the independent circuit.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly feel like he could clean up over there.
I really think the best thing that he could do is go make a name for himself elsewhere, make himself a hot property, show some personality.
Yeah, he's still really young too. Like he's got a lot of time left. It'd be interesting to see what he could do in the Indies.
So, also, yeah, I would, if I were an indie promoter, I would book him against Simon Gotch like yesterday. I watched them do some insane chain wrestling in the past. But if I'm Chad Gable and Jason Jordan comes back and nothing gets going in my career, I'm hitting the bricks. And very rarely do I recommend that for somebody, but I really think that if he was into the travel.
Well, there were also this rumblings that Triple H said about moving guys back and forth to NXT. Like there's a singles career for Chad Gable in NXT that would be awesome. You imagine like a series of matches between Chad Gable and Keith Lee,
Ricochet,
Ricochet, Cassius Ohno. Like there'd be some really great matches for him to have as a singles wrestler NXT right this very second.
Well, Balor is interrupted by Baron Corbin, and it's a little locker room, Alex. Good shit, pal.
Oh man, get it? It's a small house. Because he's so small. And also there's My Little Ponies there because he's effeminate, I suppose, because of the rainbow thing, right? That's the thing. That's the joke.
They copied the Big Cass storyline.
God,
get out of here.
It's so stupid.
Ziggler and McIntyre wore a lot of makeup during their selfie promo. Balor dives over the top onto Drew as we go to a commercial break. We come back and Balor hits one of the nicest like spinning DDTs. That thing was wild. Ziggler interferes. Rollins makes the save. You know the drill. Yep. Tag team match. Playa.
Yep.
Rollins had some energy in this match. And as much as they had just marginalized him, the crowd still loves him, Alex. It's a shame that he had reached almost peak levels of that heat again and got relegated. But when he kicked out of that reverse Alabama slam from McIntyre, ooh, they were kicking, and he curb stomped Ziggler for the win. An outstanding reaction for Seth Rollins.
Absolutely. The crowd loves this guy. He's never been hotter. So obviously, let's keep him in a feud with Dolph Ziggler. That's what you do with that.
He gets another match at SummerSlam. You know, I got people saying, oh, no, Balor's going to bring back the Demon against Corbin? Why?
No, that's no.
That's dumb.
No.
Don't do that.
Yeah. I'm hoping they do this. They turn the Rollins Ziggler match to a ladder match. You know, in the tradition of great intercontinental ladder matches at SummerSlam, do it that way because I've seen them wrestle singles matches, a couple of them. I've seen them wrestle an Iron Man match. It wasn't so hot. Let's see what they do with the ladders.
These five, and I'm talking Corbin, Balor, Rollins, Ziggler, McIntyre. Oh, by the way, who was in that backstage segment with Finn Balor tonight?
Yep.
Throw an old Chad Gable in there as your dark horse, as your Zack Ryder winning a qualifying match to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Ember Moon is still not a great promo. Sarah Logan has been banned from ringside. Michael Cole on commentary explains that Liv Morgan refers to herself as a juvenile delinquent, in which Corey Graves appropriately says, well, how old is she? If she's underage, why is she wrestling for us?
Mm-hmm.
She cannot be a juvenile delinquent, correct? And Michael Cole's like, well, yeah, by the definition. He's just like, yeah, okay, then. Wondering. This is like the 200th math between Ember and the Riot Squad, and it's fine. Missed body press, a nice little choke on the ropes from Liv. Inverted STO from Ember. Got a front superplex and an eclipse. Do it for Ember. She's really good in the ring.
Yeah. And that the thing is that she's not a juvenile delinquent. She's an adult delinquent, and that's fine. But juvenile delinquent perfectly describes her gimmick. she's like a misbehaving 14-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna sneak out tonight and go see my boyfriend. He's a senior. That's you know, you gotta watch that one. She chews blue gum and she loves sticking her tongue out of people. She's so irreverent, that one. So that's her gimmick. You know, so fine. But no, she's not technically juvenile herself.
Elias finally gets his opportunity to sing. Kurt Angle comes out and says this, the floor is yours. These people want to hear you sing, and it gets a roar from the crowd. An outstanding ovation.
I did love Kurt Angle interrupting to say he wasn't going to interrupt, but he was interrupting to say, you're not going to be interrupted anymore.
It was pretty great.
It's perfect speech, Kurt Angle. Yeah.
This son of a bitch, Elias, trashes Cincinnati, one of the beautiful cities in the world. The exact opposite of San Antonio, Texas.
Hmm. Well, in the first song off his new EP, he trashes all the cities. He says it's called "The Ballad of Every City I've Ever Been To," is the name of the song, and it's honestly it's a delight. It's really funny. You should.
I did watch the live concert from New Orleans that they filmed.
Yeah.
It was really good. He gets interrupted again by Bobby Lashley. Main event time. By the way, guys, subscribe to our friends over at Pro Wrestling Unlimited. They have great stuff over there, do a lot of great videos that we use in our articles. And they cover the Fightful Wrestling Weekly. If you don't check out that Fightful Wrestling Weekly every Friday morning at 6 a.m., it is chock full of exclusives that might have new stuff, might have stuff you missed throughout the week. Check it out, Fightful.com. Also, we have a new YouTube page as well, Fightful Scraps, where we add certain archived videos, clips from our time here at Fightful.com. So check that out, Fightful Scraps on YouTube. Roman Reigns defeated Bobby Lashley in the finals of this very short Top Contender tournament. This match, little scoop for you guys, produced by Michael Hayes. Roman backstage says that he's the most decorated superstar of his generation. Now, depending on what he means by generation, I'm assuming he means the last 6 years. Do you agree with him?
I mean, decorated doesn't decorated necessarily mean titles held. I mean, I don't know.
Main events at WrestleMania, yeah. Sure.
I mean, well, the other thing's like, is that a decoration? If you main event WrestleMania and lose, I don't consider that a decoration. You know what I mean? You main event WrestleMania, that's cool. But guess what? I mean, somebody told you you're main eventing WrestleMania. I guess you also are told you're winning the belt too. Yes, I suppose that's true. I mean, yeah, I guess. I guess. But again, it doesn't matter because it's all decided by somebody who also decided that the way they ended tonight was okay. So I'll take that with a grain of salt.
Somebody in the chat criticizing me for ripping off SCU for targeting San Antonio. Playboy, unless SCU was trashing San Antonio in January of 2017, immediately upon their return, I doubt it.
Yeah.
This match I thought was very good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they had match of the night tonight, match of the night at Extreme Rules. They came out hot, a lot of heavy-hitting clothesline. They need to stop using the term legit tools about Bobby Lashley, because if his tools are legit, what are everybody else's in this world of make-believe wrestling?
They are illegitimate tools.
Yeah. Lashley does this really impressive leapfrog, and this clothesline from the apron was really brutal. Lashley, the first guy to break the master lock, first WWE superstar at least, applies it to Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And then he uses a scarf hold. What that is, it's a headlock where you lace your legs over the arm and it hyperextends the elbow. I thought it was very cool that he used that. Yeah. Power slam nearly gets a 3. Superman punch can't get it done for Reigns. Then Lashley sends Reigns back into the ring on his face, Alex.
Yeah, it did not look good. He landed badly back into the ring. Yeah, I agree. The match was very, very good, very, very solid. These two have good chemistry together. There's a level. Reigns working against bigger guys who are slow, or at least booked to be slow, not necessarily great, against smaller guys, and then you make me believe that he's supposed to be the underdog against smaller guys. No, against a guy who's basically him, but with 15 extra pounds of solid muscle
and 17 MMA fights to his record.
Yeah. That's a good matchup. I like that.
So the spear gets a near fall for Lashley. Crowd came unglued. Big Superman punch countered another spear from Lashley. Then Reigns hits one of his own for the win. An outstanding match, but 50-50 booking that sets this up. And at this point, I don't want Reigns Lesnar. I don't want it. As a viewer, I don't care about it. I don't care about business, what they're doing moving forward. And I don't want to see it. And what I'm ready for, at this point, I don't care if Reigns wins. I just want this. I want to move on. I just want to move on.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is I don't know, man. Like, I'm trying to picture this show with the belt on Reigns and what they would do with it there, having other guys chase it and having him, do his little things where he kicks out of moves that nobody kicks out of, or has a submission hold placed on him that no one gets out of, but he gets out of it anyway by standing up with the guy on his back. I can't. I don't like that. As invincibility is not a trait I look for in my wrestlers. That's not a thing that I like seeing the humanity in it. Like, I'm confident going into the match, but something happened in the match where now my guard's up in a different way, and now I got to figure out my whole strategy's flawed. Now I got to think on my feet. Those are the matches I like. Reigns never has to think on his feet. He just doesn't, because he knows that I'm going to come back. I'll be in a headlock, but then I'll stand up, and then I'll run out of the headlock and hit a couple Superman punches, and I'll hit a spear and I'll win. He doesn't. I don't feel like Reigns ever thinks he's going to lose, which is why at Extreme Rules it meant something, because he didn't think he was going to lose, and then he lost. Then the next night he came out and said, "I got no excuses. I don't even want a match. I don't care about Brock Lesnar. I just want to fight somebody." And then they were like, "Here's another opportunity at the title that you didn't ask for." And then, because they decided more 50-50 booking, and that match at Extreme Rules now doesn't matter. Nothing matters. And now we get Roman versus Brock. They've retconned a really cool moment in Reigns' career where he came up against a guy that was his equal and a little bit better. And he lost. And now that doesn't matter. 2 weeks, literally 8 days after that really cool, what could have been a cool seminal moment in Reigns' career, it's now null and void, and we just get to move on and have him face Brock. And listen, we can hope he's going to win. I don't know, but then what? Like, this is where this
3.5 years, man. It's been 3.5 years.
This is the thing, is that I want to say this. This is the company is the beginning of the night with that really great, just cool decision to give the women their own pay-per-view. It's awesome. And that's one end of the spectrum. And the other end of the spectrum is Reigns versus Lesnar again, LOL.
Yep.
And that's the end of the night. And 3 hours span it, and there's nothing in between of note.
They shake hands at the end. Like I said, 3.5 years this has been going on. Reigns and Lesnar. It's time to wrap it up. And, they would love to have Lesnar hold both titles. He beating Daniel Cormier. It's time to move on.
Yeah.
It's time to move on. Alex, tell the people where they can follow you on social media.
They can follow me at Pawlowski the Fourth. It's the numeral 4TH. That's me.
Follow me at Sean Ross Sapp. Again, guys, if you just check out the show, head over to FightfulWrestling.com. In my humble opinion, our award-winning website and podcast is the hottest in the world. We had Melissa go to Slammiversary last night, our producer who had never seen live wrestling. She's going to talk about it on Listen You Boy this week. It's a good time. That show airs Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern. We have our post-SmackDown show on Tuesday night, of course. Check it out, guys. Fightful.com. Spread the word. Let people know about it. We are out.